It's your creepy clouds, and today we are going to have little knowledge about the phases of the moon. So let's get into the video. Today our learning goals will be identify and describe the different phases of the moon and explain how this cycle causes eclipses. Did you know that the moon itself does not produce its own light and is not a light source? The reason is the moon lights up at night is because it actually the reflection of the sun. This means that the light from the sun bounces off it back to earth. Rotation of the moon. The moon rotates on its own axis, as does the earth. Earth also orbits around the sun. In fact, it takes the same amount of time to rotate as it does to orbit the earth once. As a result, we see many different phases of the moon depending on where the sun, earth and moon are positioned. Why do we see the same side of the moon? Have you ever noticed that the moon always looks the same? Sure, the phases of the moon changes, but the actual features on the moon always look the same from month to month. This is because the moon's rotation and orbit take the same amount of time. As a result, we always see the same phase of the moon no matter what time of the month we look at it. The Earth and the Moon. There are 3 points. The Moon is the Earth's only permanent satellite. It takes approximately 27 days for the Moon to complete a full rotation on its axis. However, a lunar month is 29.5 days from full moon to full moon. Well, this is very interesting. Why is a calendar month not 27 days? It's due to the fact that at the same time the moon is orbiting to Earth, the Earth is also orbiting the sun. This means the position of the Earth, sun and moon are constantly changing. Due to this continual movement of the Earth in its orbit around the sun, it always takes an extra 2 days for moon to go from one full moon to the next. So there are total 8 main phases of the moon. New moon. The moon's unilluminated side is facing the earth. This makes the new moon barely visible. This phase occurs when the sun, earth and moon are aligned, with the moon positioned between the sun and earth. So the second one is about waxing crescent. The moon now reflects some of the sun's light and becomes visible again. Less than half of the moon is illuminated. It occurs after new moon. First quarter. This moon phases is visible when the moon reaches the first quarter of its orbit around the earth. One half of the moon appears to be illuminated. Waxing gibbous. The visibility of the moon is getting bigger. More than half of the moon is now illuminated, but what we can see is still smaller than a full moon. Full moon. The moon's illuminated side is facing earth. This means the moon appears to be completely illuminated by direct sunlight. It occurs when the moon is on the opposite side of earth than the sun. Waning crescent. This is the last phase of the moon before the cycle repeats. Less than one half of the moon is illuminated by direct sunlight. It appears in the sky almost like the shape of a fingernail. Third quarter. This phase of the moon is the opposite view of the first quarter moon. One half of the moon appears to be illuminated by direct sunlight. Waning crescent. This is the last phase of the moon before the cycle repeats. Less than one half of the moon is illuminated by direct sunlight. It appears in the sky almost like the shape of a fingernail. Let's have a role-playing activity. Step 1. Draw a diagram on a piece of paper of how the sun, earth and moon move. Step 2. Get into group of 3. Step 3. Each member of the group will assign the number 1. Sun, 2. Earth, and 3. Moon. Step 4. Discuss a group who will move around who and how you will move. Step 5. Act like a scenario. Once you think you have created an accurate representation of how the Earth, Moon, and Sun move about each other, put your hand up and let your teacher know. Show your teacher and explain what is happening. This is quite interesting. What is an eclipse? An eclipse occurs when an celestial body such as moon or planet moves into the shadow of another celestial body. There are two types of eclipse in Earth. Solar eclipse. A solar eclipse will occur when the moon blocks the light from the sun and casts a shadow in space. This happens when the moon is positioned between the sun and the earth, as we saw in the new moon phase. In order to get a solar eclipse, the sun, moon, and earth must be in a perfect alignment. Normally, the moon's shadow misses the earth. If the sun is blocked out by the moon, it appears black. If the moon blocks out the whole sun, it is called a total eclipse. If the moon blocks out part of the sun, it is called a partial eclipse. Lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse will occur when the earth blocks the light from the sun and casts a shadow in space. Sometimes this shadow falls on the moon, causing an eclipse of the moon. This doesn't happen every month, just like with solar eclipses. There are total lunar eclipses and partial lunar eclipses depending on how much of the moon passes through the earth's shadow. As the moon passes through the earth's shadow, the lit part of the moon gets progressively smaller and darker. During a lunar eclipse, the moon does not turn black, but a reddish color. This is sometimes referred to as a blood moon. Thank you for watching this video.